What's up, everybody? It's your boy Saul G, aka Money Graham, coming at you live once again on a special Sunday edition of the greatest comic book show on earth, the Comic Kage Show. And I'm your host, aka Money Graham. All right, you can follow me at 50 Shades of Saul G on Twitter. You can follow the entire Libre Network at the Libre Network on Instagram, and then you can follow me or the show at LibreTV.co, because like I said, we're broadcasting live everywhere tonight, so make sure you can catch us on Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you check in and let us know you're out there watching. Man, I just want to say, man, I'm happy to be back. I was going to be with you yesterday, but things happen, man. You know, out here doing what I do, you never really know. You think, you know, your transportation, your way you earn money is just always going to be up and running, but sometimes it doesn't. And yesterday, after being on the side of the road for about 4 hours waiting on the tow truck, I was like, you know what? Wasn't in the happiest of moods to do a show, but I must say, with the glorious win of everybody's, or not everybody's, but my favorite team yesterday, the Oregon Ducks over Ohio State, I would just like to just say I'm in an awesome mood today, and it even got compounded this morning when the Atlanta Falcons, my ex-team, got blowed out at home by the Philadelphia Eagles. This is what you get for not drafting Justin Fields. So that karma has already came back to you game one. But, man, being the King of comics like I am, man, I've had this young lady on my show a couple of times, and it's hard to be a king if you can't bring on a queen. So I have to go ahead and bring in this young lady, Coach Felecia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hello, followers.
Man, I am doing great, man. This excited about the show we got tonight. If you look at the title, we're going to talk about, it says Shang-Chi, the mediocrity that Marvel needed. Now, just to check real quick, have you seen Shang-Chi yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, great. Just to let everybody know, there is no spoiler. This isn't a spoiler edition.
Okay.
I'm just going to give a general overview about what is considered mediocre, and I'm just going to explain to you what Shang-Chi is. Then we're going to basically give some information. But let's go ahead and get into the side topic of tonight.
Okay.
What if? Ugh. I saw that reaction that you had on Twitter. I believe your words were, I don't want to misquote you here. Let me see if I can pull up the tweet that you had about, because I retweeted it, and I want to say I heard words like ruined and the future of Marvel, and I'm like, man, what did they do to you? You know what I mean? Okay, here we go. I'm going to skip over the shout out to myself. She said, I'm heading to at 50 Shades of Saul G podcast to discuss the tragedy known as What If. Absolutely the worst thing Marvel could do to me before Doctor Strange 2 comes out. The air quote watcher is cruel and could use a wife by now. Explain that tweet, please.
Okay, so we got to
hold on before you explain the Doctor Strange. I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you want to, because I know you haven't had a chance to talk to me about the first 4 episodes. Do you want to work up to the Doctor Strange episode, or do you want to go ahead and go right into it?
I want to take it from Loki, and then this will help me. So,
okay. Start from Loki. Let's go.
I love Loki because it gave us a different take on him, right, as his person. But the last episode, right, we got to see that there's somebody else, a Kang, who's controlling these universe, and then he does. Yes, and then he, does whatever they do. Next thing you know, all of these lifelines and universes kind of pop up. So I'm guessing that's where What If comes into play. They're trying to say like there's different versions. There could be different versions based upon the decisions folks make.
Okay.
And I thought it was interesting at first because it's like alternative universe, showing how our decisions are very important. We got to be careful. I get the underlining. I get that moral message. But the way they just turned our heroes into these menaces, I'm baffled by it. So let's talk about episode 1 now.
Okay, so let me go ahead and all right. I want to see. Look, I just want to say I'm so glad to have a woman on here now because I was being called all types of chauvinist and misogynist and all these other things when I talked about episode 1. So let's talk about it. Captain, well, first of all, Captain Carter.
Yeah.
Not Captain Britain, not Captain America, but she's such a strong character. We get to use her last name. So what did you think about the Captain Carter episode?
So I didn't like it because they made her come out looking beastie. And I just don't like that kind of image on beautiful women. I feel like women can be beautiful and intelligent, even in this so-called man's world. But the way that they switched it up, I just didn't like it. I was like, she's unattractive. And then to top it off, they put her right next to Steve Rogers, who is sickly. He looks terrible. So I'm like, the optics are just mess with my head at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it because they gave that superhero image to America. I mean, to Britain. I'm like, wait, aren't they colonizers? Come on now. What's happening? I'm just messed up in the head right now. So I didn't like it. I did like how they tried to bring in, you know, when Steve went into that big massive suit, I was like, okay, this looks like Iron Man a little bit. I see how they're interjecting that, but it was just too much masculine, feminine to me, and I just don't like it because I'm traditional. So
okay, see, this is my thing, right? And this is what I said on the show before. I said, I have, me being a comic book fan, me being involved in things with wizards and elves and magic and all this type of stuff, I don't have a problem with a strong female character. Like I've said many a times, Sarah Connor's on Terminator, great example. The first Charlie's Angels with Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, great example. Where I'm like, okay, they don't have to explain it. And then I said, if you haven't seen the movie The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis, it's a great, strong female character in that movie as well. I don't have a problem with it the same way I don't have a problem with characters like Storm, Jean Grey, Rogue. They don't bother me.
Right.
The problem is, if you're going to change it up and make it a woman, you make her super OP, like she's just ridiculously strong, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna make her the strongest thing in the universe just because she's a woman. That's the only thing that bothers me, because I wouldn't even want them to go out their way to do it if we were going to go cross any other line, whether it was a black person, like for example, Kang, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden, Kang is black. If all of a sudden Kang could just do all of this stuff that he couldn't do in the comic books, I'd be like, yo, y'all didn't even have to do that. He's perfectly fine the way he was written. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when it started off, when she flipped off I guess maybe the London Tower or something like that, landed like I'm like, Captain America can't do that. You know what I mean? And then she flipped a tank, and she basically like judo flipped a big old truck, and I'm like, come on now. I mean,
and then it became more about her physical strength as opposed to her mental strength, which made her very sharp in the other films, the other television series.
Right.
And I'm upset that they took that brain power away and then slapped her with a man's body and then said she's a superhero. No. So
right. And it was like they tried to explain it, and they tried to make it seem like it made sense. Like all of a sudden she's just frisbee throwing weights into a wall for no reason. And I'm like, y'all are really doing this angry woman stereotype, because there's no reason for her to be ruining this wall like that. But then it was a situation like, oh, that's why she's so good with a shield, because she was throwing weights into a wall. But the one thing, and I got to go back to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that they keep messing up is just because you take a super soldier serum does not mean you know how to fight now. It just means you're stronger. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as she took it, she jumped down. She's beating up all these troops. She beat the one guy up, kicked him in the balls or whatnot. I'm like, what are we doing right now, man? I mean, she's automatically this better than everybody else. And once again, no problem with the woman doing that. It's just like, I get it. It's not supposed to be realistic based on, especially the last episode. I'm not looking for realism, but I need just because it's make-believe, it doesn't mean that I don't want realism in my make-believe.
And that's why I'm saying that it's ruining my my universe of Marvel. Like, I feel like the creators or the writers could have done a better job at the storytelling. I feel like this is the worst. They just said, you know what? We got some junior writers out here who want to test drive. Let's give them a shot. We're not going to pay them to write these scripts. And then they wrote What If. That's how I feel like right now.
But you want to know what would have saved that first episode to me?
Okay, what?
When Captain America sacrificed himself. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen What If. Yeah. I'm sorry. We're 6 episodes in. If you haven't seen number 1, apologies. Spoiler alert. Yeah. So when Captain America supposedly sacrifices himself and he's blown off the train in the middle of the snow, right?
Yeah.
They should have made Steve Rogers the Winter Soldier. That would have been great. That would have been a cool twist.
Yes.
Because they brought him back.
Yes.
He should have took Bucky's place.
Yeah, I remember that. That would have been believable.
Right. See, when he fell into the snow, I was like, oh, they about to make him the Winter Soldier. Maybe they show him getting injured or whatnot. Somebody coming to find him in the snow. And it was just like, oh, he's fine. Get him back in that iron suit again. I was like, well, I tried episode. But the other thing, like I said, that I hated was when she was running by the guy on the motorcycle and she kicks him off the motorcycle on the episode. I was like, what the hell do you need the motorcycle for if you're already faster? You know what I'm saying? And then she just runs straight up to a castle and just does like 2 flips and just lands on. I'm like, Captain America, come on, man. Like, this is why I said, you remember the scene from the Winter Soldier with Captain America? He's holding on to the helicopter like, you know what I mean? But the helicopter hasn't taken off yet. So it's unbelievable, but it's like, okay, he didn't catch a helicopter coming right at him. You see what I'm saying? So before the helicopter gets momentum, we're like, oh, okay, he's a little stronger than I thought, but it's a little bit more believable once you got that momentum. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anything else to say on the first episode before we keep going?
No. So remind me of the episode 2. Oh, Lord.
T'Challa's episode. Okay. So T'Challa is now Star-Lord. What were your thoughts on this episode?
Okay, so number 1, let me just say, hearing Chad's voice again was just like, it was beautiful. I miss him. I loved hearing his voice. When they took me to space with T'Challa, I was upset. I said, how did he get here? What is happening? So the idea of him basically getting colonized in space is messing with my head. Like these white folks in alien makeup captured the black boy and kept him. They wouldn't even return him to his black parents. That has me. So that part was a little bit bothersome. I'm like, this is too colonizer for me. Okay. That was number 1. Secondly, I just didn't like him not being a king. You know, it's like, why did you strip my man of the kingship? And then, you know, towards the end, they tried to bring it back together. But I was like, this is too much of the colonizer vibe.
Yeah, I said once Chadwick Boseman, the nostalgia of Chadwick Boseman, like you said, hearing his voice again, I was like, oh, man, I was kind of choked up like, dang, man, my guy's not going to be in the next one. You know what I mean? But it's like, I got a job to do. I gotta watch this. I gotta watch this episode. Yeah. As level-headed as I can. I can't get caught up in the nostalgia. And then all of a sudden, when I was like, wait a minute, let me go back and look at this picture. I'm like, is that Thanos in the back?
That's Thanos.
So I'm like, so let me get this right. You got Razorface on the I'm gonna just say screen right. Okay. You got Thanos. You got T'Challa. Yeah. You got the guy who Star-Lord, who did the famous "Who" quote from the beginning. You got I forget the dude with the mohawk who does a little whistling thing with the arrow. Okay. Name's not coming to me right now. And then you got Nebula. I was like, this is his crew. So once again, you want to say, T'Challa's just such a great, he's just a great people person that he was able to win over Thanos and all this stuff. Yeah. But based on, if you've seen the trailers, we know what's coming. That means if this is his crew, then that now means they've now turned Gamora into the big bad. And I think she's going to come through with the Infinity Gauntlet at some point. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody is in his crew. And you got to remember, he didn't have the Watcher, right? In that episode. Right. He didn't have the Infinity Gauntlet. He was way too overpowered too, but he didn't have the Infinity Gauntlet. So if you got Thanos, Nebula, and all these other people, even Taserface is in there. You see Taserface over there on the right? Yeah. Like from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. He's even in the crew. Yeah. So it's like they're gonna have to make Gamora is gonna have to get the Infinity Gauntlet. So now she's gonna be a bad guy. And that's the reason why I said the script was just more about him kind of sort of working, this him just being a great person versus okay, can I get Guardians of the Galaxy with T'Challa? I would have been fine with that. It wasn't. I didn't get any of that. He really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He really tried to talk his way. Like, you gotta think about it. How many times did he actually even like you? He didn't use his guns barely. He didn't put the mask on really. He didn't throw the little grenade things to start. He didn't really do anything. So I was like,
well, maybe they were trying to give that kind of atmosphere that he was just, you know, a really diplomatic kind of leader, you know, and able to talk his way into people's hearts. I don't know. I just know I was like, why y'all colonize him like this?
I was watching it. I was like, man, I really wanted his last one to be good. I really did.
Yeah.
I
think that's probably it. This is like us seeing him for the last time, you know, and it's like, no, y'all took him out the kingdom and then brought him into this dump.
Wait, hold that thought about the supposed last time we thought we was gonna see him, because I'm gonna come back to that, because I was even thoroughly upset on the last episode, but we gonna get to that. And we about to get to that. Okay, so then we had this episode with T'Challa. Now the third episode was wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was one in between the Doctor Strange one. Was Doctor Strange one next?
No, I think there was one.
Wait a minute. Hold on. If you're out there in the chat, man, go ahead and let us know what the third episode is, because right now it is not going through my brain right now.
Okay, so it was Nick Fury with
all the Avengers get killed.
Right.
Yeah. What happens if the Avengers basically never form and they killed all the Avengers? Yeah. What did you think about that episode? I thought that was a very good episode.
I did too.
You know, just because of the fact that it was different. But what I did want to go back is I need to explain something just for people at home real quick. What if, right? I know you talked about, you kind of connected to Loki, but it's basically based off an actual comic series called What If, where it's basically say, you know, well, what if the Hulk was you know, somebody else, and or what if Captain America didn't, you know, they just basically play out all these scenarios and try to get as creative as possible. So it's actually based on a comic book series. That's the reason why we knew we were going to get Marvel Zombies, because that was one of the most popular what if like comic book series was the What If Zombies. So the end branch timelines and things like that we saw on Loki with Kang, yes, that is it, but that's not related to what we're watching. This is completely different. So this is not connected.
Okay, so it's not them showing me different universes based on what happened in Loki.
No.
Okay.
No, this is almost like, just look at it as if they were just all of a sudden going to introduce. Well, just look at it as being like a Marvel property. It's almost like Venom right now, right?
Okay.
Like, we're gonna get to Venom in a little bit, but like, you know how Venom doesn't really like take place. Like, he hasn't been seen. He has no Spider-Man. No Avengers near Venom. He's kind of by himself.
Yeah.
So look at it kind of sort of as a standalone. It's by himself. It is in the universe, but like they're over there somewhere.
I see. So I think I didn't like What If because I was like, they're telling me that these are different stories happening as a result of that branch. So now I can look at it a little bit different, but I'm still angry.
Okay, yeah. So we had that third episode where what if the Avengers didn't come together?
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was a good episode. I did not like the I thought how they kind of went through it was decent, but I don't know what their problem with Michael Douglas is, or Ant-Man, the original one, but he keeps becoming the villain, and like he's been the villain in 2 out of 5 of these episodes. I'm like, what are we doing right now? But I thought that was pretty good, just because of the fact that, you know, they were actually killing off Avengers. And I just thought that was kind of interesting how they were doing it. But I thought this one was, to me, this was my favorite one.
It was more believable to me.
Right.
It was, I feel like I could see this actually happening where, you know, someone makes the wrong. It was more believable than Captain What's Her Face.
Marvel?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Captain Carter. It was just very much so more believable. Loki was in his kind of regular mindset of, you know, I'm gonna take over the world. That's Loki, right? So I think having a few believable elements makes the other decisions a believable action to me. I think that's probably why I liked it.
Got you. Okay, so let's get to the Doctor Strange episode, which I enjoyed the Doctor Strange episode as well, but it was still problematic. Like, these are my things. I can enjoy an episode, but it can still be problematic. So I enjoyed it, but it was very problematic for me for a multitude of reasons.
Okay, go.
Number one, Doctor Strange, please get another woman. I'm sorry. Like, all the stuff that he has to do, like, I'm gonna get on Doctor Strange and his decision making in like this whole universe so far.
Yeah.
But they are making Doctor Strange's decision making horrible, and I don't like it because I'm gonna go back to Infinity War, right?
Okay.
He made a horrible decision because they told him they could have destroyed the time stone. He never would have got all of them. Oh, I can't do that because I'm sworn to protect it. Okay, well, go back in time and fix it. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, use the time stone, my G. You know what I mean? Like, you know, this is the sacred power of the blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, y'all are making Doctor Strange. And I'm like, the other thing where he was doing a little thing and he was like, oh, I'm looking through all the possible things. I'm like, there's only one way this could have went down.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm watching all of this stuff happen and I'm like, y'all are making Doctor Strange look real suspect right now. His decision making is terrible. This what if episode, I still got something else for him later on and another one. But this what if episode, I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, I would have went back maybe 2-3 times. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if it would have been I get it. It would have been, I'd have been like, dang, I want to save her. I would have went back one time.
Yeah.
I let her drive one time.
Yeah.
Then, you know, once the dude killed her in the diner, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's over with. But I did not like
the obsession.
Yeah, I didn't like just how they kept. It was just like too much, man. It's just like, he was doing, and I know people say, oh, but he did it for love. Based on how it ended. Come on, man. It's like it wasn't worth it. It wasn't. You know, you went back and you studied for thousands of years to try to say this one woman. And honestly, I was sitting there thinking, like, can he just like bring her back? Like, why didn't he just find out how to bring her back from the dead? Like, I would have researched something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
But I was just like, at this point, man, it was just, bro, you're doing too much. And I'm like, they weren't even like, they was just kicking it at the time. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this ain't his wife. This ain't even really his girlfriend. They was just like going to a play. So it'd be like, you know, I'm in my single mode. I'm like, yo, baby, let's go to Applebee's. All right, come on, let's go. And then all of a sudden, I go get in the car, and then a big truck, boom, just kills her. Oh, man, I really want to go on a date with her. Let me roll back time again. I roll back time like twice. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to go get 2 for $20 by myself. I'm sorry, baby girl, couldn't make it, but I'm not about to keep doing this, man.
It was an obsession that was too much for me. In the original Doctor Strange, I get how the trauma kind of pushed him, and I understand that, right? But he was more selfish in the first film, right? So he was more concerned about his hands. Oh, I can't use it. I can't beat the career. So that makes sense to me because men are kind of like that. I mean, no shot at men, but y'all are kind of like that. Like, if the career's not popping off, well, a woman's actually probably not going to find you very attractive because we do think about resources. Right. So I understand that part, but this one was just very dark. And the obsession over this one woman that he, like you said, wasn't even in a relationship with. I'm a little scared now because now I think you're a psycho. And you know, I think the character, when he finally brought her back, right? She's kind of like, I'm scared of you. Yeah, that's the proper response because no woman wants that kind of psycho obsession from a man, especially if you're not in a relationship. Like, you're on the brink of probably killing her, which he kind of did. He killed her again because everything went. Now, I didn't understand what actually happened. Was he in this bubble for the rest of eternity at the end?
Well, you gotta look at. They were basically saying like he just destroyed like everything. He destroyed the universe. Period. Like, that whole universe is just done. So like, if this would have been Loki, this would have been one of those timelines that just kind of sort of just disappeared because it was so messed up. And they're like, you know what? We're not gonna worry about that timeline. That was pretty much done. Like, that's what it was. So it was like, that's the reason why I didn't like it, because I'm like, okay, he's doing all of this, and I understand we can look at the movie and we have the movie perspective, so we can look at their relationship maybe somewhat a little bit deeper, but it's still like, at the same time, based on what you showed me, I wanted to see some kids. I wanted to see something else. Take it even further. Let them get married and then have the tragedy happen. So I can, okay, this is why. But this is like, hey, we just keep trying to go to the ball. The same time, instead of him going to the ball, I mean, I think he was going to a ball the first time when he fell off the cliff, messed up his hands. But I was like, you got to give me more to make me that interested. But
yeah. And then I'm kind of wondering, are they trying to say that love for a woman causes a man to go insane? Like, what are the underlining messages that they're throwing out here, which, you know, just has us kind of like,
or I mean, like, from a man perspective, I mean, I guess I could ask you a question. Like, I don't know how would you feel as a woman if I came and said, I destroyed the entire universe for you?
No, I mean, my response would be just like hers. Like, oh, I need to die again. Like, no.
Thank you. It wouldn't be like, oh man, whoo, here you go, man. Let me go ahead and throw these straws at you real quick, man. You know, you just, for me, the universe. Oh, that is so sweet. Come on.
That's why I said it's not believable, because a woman in her right mind is not going to appreciate that kind of insane. It's just not.
Yeah, and the one part, I know I'm not gonna quote him perfectly right, but the Watcher annoyed me on that episode because you actually spoke and you was like, "Yeah, I've been watching. I saw everything happen, but I cannot interfere." I'm like, man, if you don't get the hell on somewhere, man, what was the point of you even saying something?
I know. So how come is it because Dr. Strange had access to all that stuff? That's why he was able to hear him and nobody else can hear him?
Well, he had said he sensed them before. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go back in the episode, the Watcher is just like, that's the other thing that's making the Watcher the worst, because he's like a creep. You know what I mean? Because I remember this one view. They showed like Doctor Strange is right, and then they just showed like a little boot with a cape. So it was like he was watching for the. I'm like, man, the Watcher is creepy, man. Like, I'm getting the creepy vibes from the Watcher. You know what I mean? Like,
and I was like, okay, he needs a companion at this point, because
he needs to watch Stressed or something, man. Because I was like, this ain't cutting it, man. So
I don't know that part. It was really kind of cruel to me. And that's why I made that comment. Like, he's a little mean. Like, you're watching what's happening. You know what can fix the situation, so the universe does not.
Nope, not going to do it. No, sorry. I could fix it, but I won't. Look what you did, Dr. Strange. I was like, come on, man. Like, it was so bad to me. And then the other thing I haven't liked about it is some of these transitions, the way they end the shows, have been awful. It was like world destroyed, fade to another scene, some credits, some more credits. I was like, that's all. That's how y'all go end the episode. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so we had the Doctor Strange episode. Now let's get to this Marvel Zombies, man. I must say, it was my most favorite episode. Okay. However, this first scene that we're looking at is so problematic for me because I'm also in my Walking Dead mode. I'm in my World War Z mode. I'm in my every zombie movie ever mode. You said Marvel Zombies, so you got to explain to me how this works. Are they just dead, but they still have access to all of their powers? Like, remember when they showed Doctor Strange and he was doing a little thing? I was like, he's dead. He's just supposed to just walk over and try to bite people. Iron Man's flying through the sky. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's activating his gear. How is that possible?
So I don't know.
They broke the zombie rules. That's what I'm trying to say. They broke the zombie rules, but it was good, but they broke the zombie rules.
So that's the zombie rule. Once you become a zombie, everything, you're just dead, and you're alive to eat.
Yeah, the only rules that apply at that point, like basic zombie rules are this: you're either a running zombie or a walking zombie. You always want to eat anybody who is alive. Headshots take you out. Anything besides a headshot doesn't take you out. Those are like your basic zombie rules that just about every zombie movie, every zombie show is going to follow.
So I guess because I didn't know that rule, it didn't apply to my what I thought about this episode. I thought this episode was the best one out of the 4 or 5.
I agree.
Only because it was believable to me. So I didn't at first. I couldn't understand like how did they become zombies. So it took me a little bit longer to understand that. The whole part about the father going into the quantum, blah blah blah. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so that's why I'm talking about the zombie rules.
Okay.
This episode should have never happened. As soon
Okay.
as he got bit by old girl, that's it.
Oh,
the zombies would have just been dead walking around the strip. They would have just been dead walking around the ship because you remember, like, and the other thing I didn't like about it was they were too dramatic.
Okay.
Zombies are just supposed to be mindless, like drones, right? So it was like when he got out the ship, he was kind of like, hey, and it was just kind of like she's just kind of looking down and she stands up. She kind of turns her head a little bit. She's just supposed to start coming towards them slowly. You understand what I'm saying? But it was like, okay, bam, then he gets bit.
Okay.
So after he becomes a zombie, and I'm gonna get to that part later on.
Okay.
So apparently he just gets bit, which is something I'm gonna bring up a little bit later. Okay. So he just get bit and he turned to a zombie. Okay.
Yeah.
He then gets back in that ship and pilots from that small universe. If you've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, somehow they got to come through all them other smaller micro universes.
Right.
He's a zombie doing this. And he comes back to the exact same spot where they originally left as a zombie to come out and scare the Wasp. And once again, I'm not knocking it because the women did run this episode again. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying all of a sudden the Wasp just goes small, gets out the way, but here's old Ant-Man like, hey, what's going on? Oh, I'm getting eaten. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on. But I'm going to come back to Ant-Man in a second, okay? Because remember, Janet just bit the original Ant-Man.
Okay.
So we're going to get back to that part a little bit later. So keep going. So then the whole zombie things happen and then keep going. All right, so what else did you think about the episode?
So beyond that, I thought it was good because, again, it was a little more believable. So now that I understand, okay, how they became zombies, I'm thinking, okay, they still have these superpowers. I actually liked the part where Vision was brought into the storyline and how, okay, Vision's love for Wanda is believable. Like him bringing the humans so she could eat, that's believable to me. And
we're gonna come back to that. Put a pin in it. Come put a pin and bring the humans for her to eat. Come back to that.
Now I don't know if he was just cutting off some of T'Challa's body parts to feed.
Man, let's go and talk about that right now. I was so mad that they brought T'Challa back to have a dialogue about him basically being used as like a zombie cheeseburger. You know what I mean? Or like, no, not even a zombie cheese, like a zombie turkey. You know, they just cutting off a leg here, a wing here. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, he was like, I thought the Vision was going to save me, but he just kept me alive to be a meal for a Wanda. I was like, what?
I know. That's why.
It did like he had no leg. I'm like, so, okay.
I colonized him again.
Once again, I'm like, so you brought him back to get all that nostalgia that we got out of episode 2, just so you know you could cut his leg off and say Vision out of all people. Like, this is my thing, right? Oh, because you gotta remember that scene on the bridge where mini Ant-Man bites Captain America neck, turn him into a, and I guess they're saying that Wakanda technology is so great that they weren't able to get through the vibranium suit that what's his name had on, right? Not even through the stitching.
Yeah.
So Vision just swoops in and saves. He could have saved anybody. But he saved Black Panther to cut his leg off to feed it to Wanda when it was all them other regular people on the bridge. He could, I mean, it's Vision now. He saved Black Panther to be food for. I'm like, that was a bit much for me. But
but when you think about it, that makes a lot of sense. So, but getting back to Vision, his love for her is believable.
It is,
and him saying, I could never leave her. I believe that because we had WandaVision. Now, I probably wouldn't have believed it just based off of the Avengers, Infinity War, blah, 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 blah. But the fact that I had WandaVision, those episodes to really show me the depth of their love, I'm like, I believe it. Wanda, I loved. I don't know why I loved her character, but I think because I'm like, that woman, she could really go there. That's
Right.
it was believable.
Right, but then that was the other funny part about it was I'm gonna get back to the vision part, but I want to go a couple of steps before that. So all the stuff that was going on before, like I don't like the needless sacrifices, and I thought that like okay, so they're in that train station, right, and all the stuff that happens in the train, the zombie Falcon. I didn't like how they kind of disregarded Falcon like that, like. Bucky just murked Falcon, and he was like, "I know that's your friend. I'm all right." And I was like, I don't. Maybe they thought it was funny because they're supposed to have like this rivalry, but I was just like, he just killed like his best, not his best friend, but like it was just kind of disregarded.
I think because we had the series though, so it just brought more depth to everybody's relationships. So I can see where you're coming from, and it's kind of like, why was he so nonchalant?
He did the same thing, but he did the same thing to Captain America on the train, though.
Yes, and that part confused me because I was like, wait a minute, why is he that cold-hearted towards the brothers? These are basically like his brothers. I don't understand that part.
And then the other part that was kind of like, okay, maybe you did it because that's what Marvel does. The serious moments, they put a joke in. Like, they totally disregarded Agent Carter too. Like after Captain America bit, nobody was distraught. It was just like, Wasp shrunk down, blew her up. And she's like, oh my God, I've got Agent Carter all over me. And everybody's like, ha 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 ha. Like, what? She's dead. Nobody mourned her. You know what I mean? Even the same thing that happened to the little Happy Hogan guy when he had the Iron Man thing. He was like, kablam, kablam, or whatnot. The way Agent Carter just made him shoot himself in the face, I was like,
I'm like, it's a little bit mentally dark. When
you gotta explain. I need to explain how those physics work. You know what I mean? Like he's just shooting it, and you just turned it to his face, and all of a sudden he was like, "Oh, I need to shoot because obviously, right? They're not stupid. Right. They're stupid, but they're not because Cap can throw the shield. You know, we've got this picture, right? So we know they have some sort of control. You know, in the first episode. Doctor Strange, they're opening up the portals. Yeah. So they can control it a little bit. So it was like, so these zombies have this much control, but he's going to just shoot himself in the face. I was like, here we go again. Y'all are stretching it again. Yeah. So, what I want to talk about in the zombie episode that annoyed me. Okay. So this is what annoyed me the most about the zombie episode.
Oh, yes. That was weird.
So you're telling me every single Avenger just got bit. But they ate him up that much that they only left the head. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I thought Ant-Man was funny. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, why the hell is he only a head? You know what I mean? Like, they was like, oh, we brought somebody back. And I mean, they did it for like a nice punchline, some nice like dad jokes he wanted to tell. But I was like, so where's the rest of his body? Are you telling me that the original Ant-Man that Wasp just ate him until he just nothing but a zombie head? And that's what Vision decided to save? Or did Vision feed? I mean, well, he couldn't have fed Ant-Man to him because he was already bit, so that wouldn't have worked. So that threw that whole theory out. But I didn't understand zombie, or not zombie head, but just the head of Ant-Man. That one was blowing me.
Now, okay, so you have to walk me back. How was Vision able to save his head, and why did he save his head?
They never showed that. It just happened off screen, and he was just in this little thing like, oh, hey, guess what? I'm here. Remember, Ant-Man got jumped on as soon as the original Ant-Man came back in the ship. They jumped on Ant-Man.
Right. Okay, right.
So they never really explained. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense why Vision would have even went there to get his head. It makes no sense why Vision would have used the only Avenger that was jacked up like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But something else I want to throw out real quick. Okay. Was, Marvel loves killing Vision. I mean, he got killed in Infinity War. He got killed in WandaVision. And he killed himself. And whatever. The same way Thanos did. I was like, my G. Like, that was the one thing I was looking at, though, right? I was like, so he's going to pull this out of his head. And as he's pulling it, I was like, watching this, like, y'all couldn't have found no better way to do this.
So then this tells me that he could have pulled it out in Infinity in War. He could have did it himself instead of traumatizing Wanda.
Based on what if, he was like, I want the woman to do I want you to do it. He didn't want to put Wait a
So
minute.
now I know Vision could have done that himself instead of wasting all that time. Remember when they went to Wakanda
Yeah.
and the sister had to try and get it out with her technology? He
Yeah.
could just
And to say there about a whole bunch of time. But then the other thing I thought about was, okay, so when the Soul Stone was in his head, it kept the zombies at bay.
Okay, yeah, you got to explain. I don't understand that.
I didn't get that either. No, they just explained it in there. I didn't have any other deep in explaining just based on what they said. But it's like when the Soul Stone was in his head, it kept the zombies at bay. As soon as he took it out of his head, all of a sudden the zombies just attacked. And I was like, it's still like, it's still activated. You know what I mean? It's like taking a battery out of a remote control. It's still a battery. You know what
maybe
I mean?
Because Vision's body needed it to make it more powerful.
I was like, that's some bad writing. So, I was just like, that was bad. I thought the way they took out the Wasp was weird. It's just like they just wanted to. I just think they wanted to have a moment. Like I was like, so once again, working on the zombie rules, you have to be bit. You can't be scratched.
So,
she got scratched and she turned into a zombie. Yeah, because that wasn't a bite mark. It was just a little bitty little like line with some blood coming on it.
Okay.
So she looked like she was either scratched or something like that, but she wasn't bit. So I was like, well, why is she gonna turn into a zombie anyway?
Right.
So
but she was saying she was feeling sick. She didn't know.
Yeah, then the Hulk was like, the Hulk did a little. The Hulk all of a sudden now he's a doctor and he's doing a medical exam, I guess. But yeah, he did a little medical exam, like his fever's going the wrong direction, blah blah. And she had to sacrifice herself with the whole walk across the zombie horde thing.
Now let me tell you, when she had them in her hand, my mind said, "Oh, she gonna throw them? Okay, she gonna throw them over the fence." Child, it was a wreck. So I didn't know she was gonna walk, get all big and all that stuff.
Yeah, and the other part that was just like, once again, I watched The Walking Dead, so it's like the timing.
Okay.
It was like you had just enough life left before becoming a zombie just to like safely drop them over the fence. You know what I mean? Like I wanted, I was just like, okay, but the end of it, right? Let's just kind of skip to the end of this here.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't like that. Oh, I didn't like it.
Zombie Thanos.
Yeah.
Number one, who bit him?
Right.
Number two, this is my problem with the whole episode. He has everything but the Soul Stone, and it's like they were going in the direction of Wakanda, bringing him the Soul Stone. But the problem is, like my nephew said, my nephew asked an awesome question. He was like, would Zombie Thanos want to destroy half the zombies, or what would Zombie Thanos do? Because he still got the gauntlet. So if he's got the gauntlet, he still has his powers. And we even remember Wanda as a zombie still kind of went to Vision after he died and was like, oh man, I'm sad Vision is dead. So they still have something going on in their mind. So you got to assume Thanos, because remember what Vision said. He said he was not powerful enough to kill her.
Okay.
So you got to think somebody on the power level of Thanos, because now that's where Wanda is. Wanda is on this super power level now. So somebody like Thanos should still have somewhat of a control over what he's doing. So what would Zombie Thanos want?
Right. I'm guessing he would want. I don't know. I'm mad because they said to us in the beginning that Wakanda couldn't be infiltrated.
Look like he did again.
Now I'm like, how did they get in?
Or did they get in? Because they didn't really show that. So I'm like, is there going to be a zombie part 2 to explain that this week? I mean, because I was like, I don't know if they got in, because when they showed Thanos,
they showed his kingdom in the background. So I assume he got in, and then I'm thinking, isn't that purple stone? Isn't he able to transport?
Okay. So if we're going to assume he's already taken over Wakanda, because that's Wakanda in the background.
Yeah.
So if he hadn't got in, so hypothetically, there's one or two things that are going on.
Okay.
He's either A, facing outward and the shield is behind him, or he's already destroyed it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, now what he's going to do?
I think he already destroyed it, because I saw other zombies, right? Wasn't there other zombies? So I think I assumed he was already inside Wakanda, the protected area. And I'm just thinking, because he had that purple stone where he was able to transport. So maybe that's how he got in.
Maybe, but then that's like, yeah, he's doing too much just to be a zombie. But that will go back to my other point, right? The Watcher explained it. The Watcher basically just said that they were basically running to their own demise. So I'm assuming that they just lost. I mean, so that's basically what you gotta do. Because the Watcher, that's why I rewinded the last part when the Watcher was talking about, basically like they were bringing like the last stone that he needed directly to him.
Yeah.
And then they showed Thanos. That's the reason why I was like,
yeah.
I guess it was all for nothing then. Okay, next episode. So
yeah.
At this point, man, what if it's cool? I'm not gonna say it's been. I mean, it's right now. It's below WandaVision on my list right now.
Okay.
They're gonna have to come very, very good with the last. I mean, I don't think it's any. I don't know if it's any episode they could do.
Yeah.
But what if is pretty bad. So, do you have any other thoughts on what if?
I give it a C-, only because it picked up with the last couple of episodes. I think the episode with Nick Fury was probably decent. I'm glad they kept him the same.
Okay.
Like I needed some kind of, something that's going to be concrete. But it's just too, it's messing with me. And then the Watcher and Doctor Strange at the very end when he was like, yeah, I can help you, but I'm not. Woo!
I was done at that point. Okay. So I had you on the last time we talked about Black Widow, right?
Yes.
And I kind of went through the whole. I think you kind of liked it a little bit. I thought it was
I gave it a B.
Okay, so I have my mediocre line, of Marvel movies. So at this point, I'm trying to think if I had to say what's the worst Marvel movie, period. I don't want to say Captain. I'm gonna probably say based in this one, it's gonna be the Hulk.
Yeah.
Probably at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so to me, mediocre Marvel movies start at Ant-Man.
Yeah, I agree.
And then your tops are like your Infinity War, Captain America, Civil War, things like that. Endgame, those are going to be at the top. So when you start talking about your mediocre Marvel movies that are basically watchable, will be like your Ant-Mans, your Iron Man 2. I wouldn't even say those first two Thor movies. The Thor movies, the first two.
I like
the first two.
I liked all the I did. I don't know why I like them, but I just
I can tell why you like them.
Maybe it's because
because of Thor. I'm probably thinking you might have had something to do with it. But I thought Ragnarok will be more towards the higher tier.
That is, okay. I agree.
So Ragnarok will be so your middle of the run Marvel movies are like your Ant-Mans. Doctor Strange is a little above, but Doctor Strange is the in between. It's between mediocre and being like really, really good. So Doctor Strange will be on a high. I feel like Black Panther goes in there.
Yeah, at the top.
Nah, I'm putting them in between.
No,
Black Panther we don't have enough time to talk about the holes of Black Panther, but if I go through the holes of Black Panther, it might change your mind. So I don't want to discuss the holes of Black Panther. I just want to see how they're going to do Wakanda Forever, and then I'll reserve judgment onto that.
Okay.
But I felt that Black Widow, based on the lawsuit and some of the other things that were going on behind the scenes, that even the Rotten Tomatoes, people were not happy with it.
Wait a minute. Why did she sue Disney again?
Because of the HBO Max release, and it didn't make the money, and that was her headliner. So they get percentages off based on what the ticket sales in the box office. So it didn't really do much, and she was blaming on, well, you sent me straight to DVD. That wasn't in my contract.
Oh, okay.
But they're like, but the pandemic, like, well, I don't have no pandemic clause in my contract. So those are like your mediocre. To me, on the bottom of Marvel is where you'll find, not going back that far, but you'll find, like I said, definitely put a Captain Marvel down there. I'm gonna put the Iron Man 3 debacle, messing up the Mandarin is down there.
Okay.
What else? Oh, the first Captain America would go down there.
Okay.
The first Avenger. That was like kind of like really bad. And I gotta put the first Thor down there. That one was pretty bad as well.
Okay.
So those are like the way Marvel is section. Like to me, your Guardians of the Galaxy, that's your mediocre to great in between. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Those are gonna be your mediocre. But like Ant-Man to me is like a watchable movie that you should be able to enjoy. So based on what my nephew told me, Shang-Chi qualifies in the mediocre to being a pretty decent Marvel movie. So if mediocre is going to be 5 on the Marvel scale, not just on a movie scale, because movies change, right? Like it's hard to watch. I mean, basically comic books have changed the way we watch movies anyway. So
Right.
on a Marvel scale, just from being like, if Endgame's a 10 and Captain Marvel's a 1, it's got to make Ant-Man a 5.
Okay.
You see what
Okay.
I'm saying? Guardians of the Galaxy 2 would be a 7 or an 8, somewhere in there. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? So based on what he's told me, Shang-Chi would be somewhere around a 7.
Oh, okay.
So he was
Okay.
saying that was a pretty decent movie.
Okay.
So I am saying the reason why I named this, and we're just going to talk a little bit about it, the mediocrity that Marvel needed is because I think Marvel needs to get back to what worked all through the first. The reason why they're the biggest, movie studio right now on the planet.
Yeah.
Stick to what works. Wash, rinse, repeat, and that's all you gotta do to keep it going.
Yeah.
I think the first movie we're going to talk about, not really going to depth because we haven't seen it, it's not out yet.
Okay.
We just want to get your opinion about what do you think it's going to be.
Okay.
So let's go first to Spider-Man.
Okay.
No Way Home. Okay. Have you
Okay.
seen the trailer for it?
No.
Okay, well, you should watch the trailer for it, but I'll give you the synopsis, right?
Okay.
You might be a little upset because you've already talked about something being ruined with Doctor Strange and heading towards Doctor Strange 2.
Okay.
So, the plot
Okay.
of this is, did you watch the last Spider-Man movie? The one where he was fighting Mysterio?
Let's see. I cannot remember. I remember
It
him
was like
with
supposed to be these
Zendaya.
big, like rock the elementals, and it was in like Europe somewhere.
I don't know if I saw it. The last Spider-Man I saw was the one when Zendaya was playing Mary J.
Yeah. Now Zendaya was in this one, but I'm just saying they were in. You have the one where he was basically in school, and then you have the one where they were in Europe.
Okay, I think this one was in school, so I haven't seen the other. Yeah.
Okay, well, spoiler alert.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Spoiler alert on the Spider-Man. It's not really going to ruin anything for you because it's basically like the end of the scene. Okay.
Okay.
At the very end of Spider-Man Far From Home, there's a video playing that shows, and it basically announces that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Okay.
And that's how it kind of ends.
Oh.
So exactly. Okay. So he's outed, right?
Okay.
So the premise for Spider-Man Far From Home, you can go watch the trailer.
Okay.
Is he goes, like he's having issues because of course everybody knows you're Spider-Man. They want you to do stuff, kind of, go around the school. You're going to be weird. He's basically saying his life is ruined.
Okay.
So who on earth do you think Spider-Man can go to that might have a way to fix his life?
To change the time.
Correct.
Okay.
He goes to Doctor Strange and he basically asks Doctor Strange, is there any magical thing you can do so that people cannot know I'm Spider-Man anymore?
Right.
And Doctor Strange, apparently, from the way they edited the trailer, somehow he agrees to it.
Okay.
You don't have any idea why he agrees to it. What would possess him to say, little teenage kid, I'm sorry you have problems that your superhero identity has been outed. But it's like, I'm watching, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, but like, Doctor Strange is a superhero. Like, there's plenty of superheroes in Marvel that show their face. You know what I mean? So it's like, I get it, he's in high school, whatever, but I'm like, I'd be like, dude, it's okay. Me, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Captain America, we're all fine, sir. You'll get over it. You know what I mean? It's fine. But eventually, Doctor Strange agrees to it, and he does this spell. Okay. And then now everything gets jacked up. They start pulling in these different villains from different universes. Now, did you see the old Spider-Man movies?
Yes.
Okay, so they're pulling in some of these old villains from that universe. So now we've got that whole multiverse thing is really popping now.
Oh.
So you see the old, you remember the guy called, what's his name, Dr. Octopus?
Yes.
Okay, he's back. So they show him. They show one of those little like grenade things that the little goblin guy was throwing.
Yes.
They show one of those. So we must assume that the guy who played him, I forget the old guy's name. I know he's William Dafoe.
Okay.
William Dafoe might be back as the Hobgoblin. So they show that. So they're going to have these like different villains that come from these different universes, which means that we could have Jamie Foxx coming back as Electro.
Okay.
You know, and because now they're dealing with the Marvel one, the Tobey Maguire one, and the middle one. I forget the guy's name.
Are they bringing the Spider-Mans too?
That's the question. Will we see Tobey Maguire? Will we see the guy that played in the middle? and they have like this huge Spider-Man fight. Some of these huge villains come back in, and we kind of have this big thing, because they've already said Michael Keaton is in it, so that means the Vulture is going to be back. When he was in jail, he was talking to a guy with a scorpion tattoo. He's supposed to be in it, so they might have this multiverses of Spider-Mans versus a multiverse of villains, plus Doctor Strange for some reason. In the movie, they're kind of fighting each other. I don't know why, but somehow Doctor Strange is going to be not a villain, but he's going to be some sort of adversary for Spider-Man 2. So, based on that, I just want to get your opinion about, do you think this is going to be average, below average, or do you believe it's going to be in that average to above average range?
Probably average to above average. For those of us who have followed the Spider-Man storyline, even from Tobey Maguire, I think the nostalgia really helps with a lot of us. So, like we were talking about earlier, episode 2 of What If was trash, but we heard Chad's voice. So we're not going to bash it too much. So it might be above average just because of the complexity.
And how they do it and how they pull it off, I think is going to really make it, because whatever villains they decide to pull out, that's really going to change. And then, like I said, they have this imagine seeing 3 Spider-Mans on screen and then they bring back Tobey. That will be interesting to see, and they might
bring Black Spider-Man.
Right, they might bring the Miles Morales from from the cartoon, right? They might bring him into real life, and I think that would be cool because we've already seen his uncle was played by this one guy I watch on YouTube calls him This Is America, but the guy's name he did the show Atlanta. He did the comedian. You know who I'm talking about. He did the song, the Stay Woke song.
No,
he be singing with his shirt off. Donald Glover.
Oh yes, okay. I know who you're talking about.
Donald Glover was in the Spider-Man movie, and he was buying some weapons or whatnot. Now in the comic books, he's the comic book character Prowler, because that who remember in the animated version, his uncle that got killed.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler alert! If you haven't seen that Spider-Man by now, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be watching the show. But anyway, Donald Glover played his character in this Marvel universe with Spider-Man.
Okay. So it's just going to be a collision of all of the Spider-Man universe in one film. I think it's going to be above average.
Yeah, I like, even though I hate the premise of Doctor Strange being like, sure, I'll help you do this film. I'm just like, it's really dumb, but you know what? I still want to see it, and I'm still excited. So I will agree with you on that one. Kind of sort of in the same territory. Venom, Carnage. That is coming out in about 3 weeks, I believe, October. It's coming in October. I want to say the first week in October. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. We've already got a nice new trailer out right now with Woody Harrelson's going to be playing Carnage, and Tom Hardy is back as Venom. First of all, did you see the first Venom?
I'm sure I did, but there's so many storylines that I cannot think of them right now. So it's been a long time.
I would just ask, did you like it? Do you remember liking it?
I remember liking the character of Venom. I don't know if I like the storyline, and that's probably why it's not clicking for me. But I do remember liking his character.
I put Venom like as a 4. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as like Ant-Man to me. So I'll put it slightly below, but it's just not an awful movie. But to me, Venom is, I can rewatch it. Like I probably watched Venom 8 times. It has some rewatch value to it, even though that last fight scene is terrible, and they always stick to the same old Marvel blueprint where they have a character with a similar power fight in the end with the Scott. It's like they keep doing that. But I will put Venom at a 4. Not the worst Marvel movie ever. Not mediocre.
So is Venom the same? Okay, remember in one of the Spider-Man movies there was the dark bad Spider-Man. He was all in black, and then he was fighting. Is this the same
It's the same entity, yeah, the same
Yes. Okay.
symbiote, I guess is what it's called.
Okay.
So the same thing that turned his suit black
Yeah.
is the same one that had him doing the. I know they have to do that stupid dance that Tobey Maguire was doing in that movie. Like they're gonna have to make fun of that the same way the animated version did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same concept.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. So talk to me about Venom 1.
Okay, so Venom basically was about it. I mean, the plot's terrible, but anyway, it was an enjoyable movie. But basically, Venom, Tom Hardy goes into this lab, and then the symbiote attaches to him.
Right.
Then he ends up becoming Venom, and then the leader of this laboratory eventually gets another one called I forget his name, Riot. Yeah, he gets another symbiote attached to him called Riot, and they end up just fighting. So that's basically the whole premise of the movie.
Right.
So in this one, there's another symbiote that's going to come called Carnage. Okay. And Woody Harrelson is a serial killer, and it's going to attach to Woody Harrelson in this one. So it's going to, I think it's going to be pretty decent. I think this one, if the last Venom was a 4, I'm going to at least say this one will be a 6.
Yeah.
It's still going to be below, like, to me, your Guardians.
Yeah.
Your Doctor Strange, stuff like that. Still going to be below those. Yeah. But I still think it's going to be a pretty decent movie. I just don't like the, even though I was trying to download the other trailer.
Okay.
I just don't like the other trailer because if you look on this trailer, right, you see how you got Carnage going one way and you got Venom going the other way with their tongues out.
Yeah.
In another poster, they flip them, so it almost look like they sticking their tongue. Like, you know what I mean? It's a little kind of, it's a little freaky looking. You know what I mean? Like you got two symbiotes with their tongues out, and like their tongues like stop like right here, and I'm like, pause. You know, so that was the whole thing. Yeah, so I think Venom, I'll say it's gonna probably be 5 6. I don't see Venom just being great. Let there be charge. I don't see it being like great, but I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say it's gonna be below average. A movie that it seems like they've kind of pushed back and forgot about. Do you remember Morbius? The vampire movie, right?
Morbius, no.
Okay, well, there was supposed to be a movie called Morbius about this guy who eventually becomes kind of like this blood-sucking vampire thing, right?
Okay.
And he's supposed to have his whole thing. He had trailers coming out before the pandemic, like he was supposed to drop, I believe, earlier this year, but it looks like they pushed him back. So I'm just going to say right now, I think Morbius is going to be in that bottom because it's not even memorable enough for you to even realize that they didn't.
I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, so you know, it's like I said, I feel like my old teaching days. You got some homework. Google the Morbius trailer, Morbius.
Okay.
And you got to watch the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that, and since you don't even remember it, I'm not going to even ask you any more questions about it. Okay, now the last movie I want to talk about is The Eternals, and we talked a little bit about that. That's the one with Angelina Jolie. And they've been on the planet the whole time, and they had a couple of trailers for that. What do you think that movie is going to be? Is that going to be mediocre? Is it going to be towards the upper tier or bottom tier? What are you thinking?
I don't know the backdrop to Eternals, so
you mean you don't know their story?
Yeah,
or I don't know. Do you at least remember seeing like the trailer for it?
I don't remember seeing the details of the trailer. I can just see the emblem, the title.
Okay, right, yeah. I'm going to say I think this is probably, and even though it's going to be difficult to beat Captain Marvel in my eyes, but I think this is going to be the worst MCU film ever.
Really?
Because I think they are going to go so far into their themes and what type of message they're trying to push across and all this other stuff, because they're going to have to explain how these very, very powerful beings basically just sat around for centuries and let stuff happen. So I believe they're going to try to pull out some foolishness, and they're going to make a lot of social points. And it's just not going to, I don't think they're going to land, because some of the Marvel social points have landed pretty decently, which I was like, all right, cool. But some of them have just missed, and it's just awkward. So I think that's going to be like the only way I can describe the Eternals: boring and awkward.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Do you think that some of the social issues they address in these comics, do you think they hit or miss?
It depends on who you ask. If you ask the casual fan, I think sometimes, well, I'll say it like this. If you ask the casual, sometimes minority more than often, do they hit? I would say yes. But if you ask like the casual comic book fan, they're like, no.
Okay.
If you go on YouTube and just start Googling, like, I mean, there's a lot of people that ate Black Panther up. They hated the they hated the colonizer word. They hated it. You know what I mean? They like I wasn't like upset about the Captain Carter episode, right? I thought it was trash, but I wasn't like visibly upset, like, oh my god, you're ruining Marvel. Like, I don't have no stock. Well, I got Disney stock, so I guess I am invested.
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute, let me take that back. I was like, yeah, but they do have Disney stock, yeah, whatever. But then I was just like, wait a minute, I don't care that much. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be entertained, so it's like if I'm just not entertained, I'm just going to kind of, it's just not going to be that hype for me anymore. But you have people who are very, very upset the same way, like when they made Michael B. Jordan the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four. People was just so upset he was black.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? I was upset that the movie was terrible.
Right.
I didn't really care what the ethnicities of the people are. I'm like, make a good movie.
Okay, I see.
If you make a good movie, you can make some changes, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're gonna make changes and the movie's terrible, it's like, So I'm gonna say I think Eternals, because they got a lot of messages they're trying to say. They've already got they've got a deaf character. Okay. They got a black guy who's also gay. Okay. They've got a Hispanic character who's a lesbian.
Okay.
And then they've got like a character who looks like she's 14, but she's thousands of years old. So I don't know if they're going to do anything with that. Okay. You know what I mean? Like her being super young. So hopefully she don't have no love interest that's a lot older than her. But
that's what I'm thinking.
We don't know. I mean, I just feel like they're really going to do a whole lot of things, and it's just not going to be it's just not going to be good. So I would say that I don't believe they're going to do the wash, rinse, repeat. Mm-hmm. Introduce some new characters, make it fun and exciting. I feel like they're going to go like DC. They're going to make it dark and mysterious, but then they're going to throw in like a random joke somewhere to try to lighten it up. But it's like, it's not going to land because you're going to bore me. And I think it's supposed to almost be like 3 hours long too. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, 3 hours long with some new characters that look like it's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of like peeping the history views. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. So.
Okay, that's interesting. I have to look at that trailer again too.
Okay, so that is our show for tonight. Do you have anything that you want to let the people know that you got going on? Or
oh my goodness. Right now, no, we're just on Twitter class. I have a podcast every evening, well, Monday through Friday on Twitter, and that is so much fun. I do it on Spaces.
Okay.
So if folks want to tune in live, they can do that. I don't invite callers to chat with me though, because they will not mess up my flow.
Try not to He said I popped in during the last second. Hey man, nice to see you here, bro.
I love Giovanni.
Hey, what they say, better late than never, man. At least you showed up, man. Thank you.
I know. Yes.
But keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's folks can join me for that one. I love doing it. I bring on guests who are basically experts. So it's not just talking about current events, which is everybody kind of does that. I actually want some in-depth teachings about, different areas that are going to help conservatives. So that's what I'm doing right now. And we're getting ready to do some work in Albany, Georgia for single moms. So folks can participate, whether giving or coming out there to volunteer pretty soon, all those things. So that's about it. But yeah, talking about Marvel gives me a chance to escape.
Yeah, give you time to, what they say, decompress and do all that wonderful stuff. Yeah. So, pretty excited about that. What else, man? You got anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, let me just see what we got going on, man. We got we should be coming back. Well, like I said, there will be a brown paper bag. There will be a brown paper bag tomorrow. It's been a while, I've been waiting on my boy to handle some things and whatnot. So we will be doing a show tomorrow.
Nice.
Then we haven't done a purple pill in about 3 weeks too, so we're gonna do that. Okay. And I'll be doing some more shows, and I got some more podcasts coming on the way. Some new podcasts, some new ideas that I'm going to be addressing. There's apparently I've been asked. Somebody said they wanted to do a podcast, and they just kind of wanted to know like what they need to do to kind of get it started. So this gentleman has a very interesting story from what I heard. Kind of similar to Corey, but
Okay.
different, and with a positive result, which is the part of it that I like.
Cool.
But you know, I talked to him for about 3 or 5 minutes. He seems to be a very good talker, so we're gonna kind of see how that goes.
Nice.
So that is all I have. I just want to say, man, I thank everybody for tuning in once again. I would like to always thank Coach Felecia for coming on, man. It's always a blessing when you come on the show, because we always have a good time and
Yes.
break all this stuff down. So I'm thinking, man, we're gonna have to. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we got to figure out a way to. I don't want to do like a big event or something like that, but we just got to figure out a way to just, you know, man, maybe get up and go watch one of these things so we can say, hey, we went and saw like Venom or something like that. You know what I mean? And then have a show and be like, yo, we saw Venom. What did you think? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to set that up, but I'm also thinking I gotta remember, because I was gonna do it on Libre TV, or we could do a watch party. The problem is, the place where it plays, but I don't hear any sound.
Oh,
because I was playing Wonder Woman 84 on Libre the other day, but there's no sound. So we'll figure it out, and maybe we might be able to do something like that. But you know, hey, things are kind of settling down around the world. Maybe we might be able to fix them out, but we'll talk about that a lot later. So once again, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. What else did I have to say? We got some new stuff coming out on the DC side. I just want to kind of just give them their little bill real quick. DC, the Batman should be coming out soon. I don't think it's gonna be any good, because anytime you take that sparkle vampire from what was the name of those? Oh my god, the ones. Oh my god, the sparkle vampires and the werewolves with the shirts off, and
I stopped watching the Batman.
Twilight.
Oh, see, no.
Yeah, anytime you take the dude from Twilight and you put him and you make him Batman, I'm just thinking.
And that's why I didn't watch the one with Ben Affleck. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
you guys are not Batman.
Yeah, it's always gonna be Michael Keaton for me. He was the one that's always done it the best. So no disrespect to the guy from the Batman Returns, stuff like that. I just couldn't get over the voice. The voice was too much. You know, he just be talking, and it was just, you know, he just sounded stupid. So, but until next time, man, everybody be safe out there, man, and we'll see you Saturday. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you.